Stressed, pressed for time, and overdressed. Story of our 36 hours in Boston. Hi, I'm Zoe.
And I'm Krista behind the camera, and this is the story of our descent into hell.
So Krista and I are fans of Dan and Phil on YouTube, and when they announced that they were going to go on tour in America, we decided we had to go.
We're both college students, and they actually went on sale when we were still in college and taking classes and stuff like that. They actually went on sale when I was in class, and I had to do the ticket sale from my dorm on my computer. I actually legitimately missed class that day. The tickets went on sale, and they sold out within 45 seconds, but I was lucky enough to get 2 tickets for actually pretty good seats. And this was the Boston show, by the way, so this was about May 5th. And the time I was buying the tickets was about February, to show how far we did this in advance.
Yeah, at this point, I was still in school, so I had to miss, I think it was 2 days of classes to go to this. And I got on a bus from school because I didn't have my own car yet. And I thought that the bus was going to be $2 to get to the bus station. And it was $5, which I was not prepared for. So I had to waste $20 to get a bus ticket. And it was awful.
So we're actually not from Massachusetts, where Boston is. We're actually from New York. We were originally going to go to the New York City TATINOF, but I knew that was going to sell out super fast, so we opted to go for Boston instead. Now, Boston's about 6.5 hours from where we both live, so this is going to be a little bit of a trek.
So Krista's mom drove us to the bus station at 5:30 in the morning that day.
Our bus left at 6:20 a.m. We figured that we would take the bus in there, arrive at about 1:45, so we'd have a little bit of time to explore the city, and then we would go to TATINOF, which started at 6 p.m. that night.
The bus ride was fine. We arrived right on time at 1:45.
But this is when it starts to get real fun.
When we got to the bus station, we saw that there were like a couple places to eat lunch, but we decided that we weren't going to eat it there because we wanted to eat at Quincy Market.
The fancy place. But first things first, we had to exchange some bus tickets. I had originally gotten them for about 7 a.m. the next morning because we thought we were going to bring Zoe back so she can experience some classes that day. But we opted out of it because she would get there like barely before her last class started. So we decided it wasn't worth it, and we decided to spend the following day exploring the city. So we had to exchange some tickets to get a bus back at a later time. On the website, it says that this was all possible and for free as long as you had the original ticket. It wasn't for free, and I ended up having to pay double price for both tickets just to exchange them back to our hometown.
So we got a taxi from the bus station, and it cost a lot more than a normal taxi would cost, like in New York City. We expected them to cost about the same. This one was a lot more expensive, and we got to the hotel just fine, and that was at about 2.
Now, me and Zoe are both under 21, but over 18, and this is fine in New York. You can still stay in a room and reserve a room if you're that age, so we thought we were okay. So we get to the hotel, again, this is about like 1:50, 2 o'clock, somewhere around there. Perfectly on time, like we had anticipated. We just wanted to drop our bags off so we could go explore the city a bit before we had to come back and get ready for the actual show. So we get to the hotel, and I go up to sign in because it was under my name. And she looks at me and she says, "Oh, can I see your ID?" So I give her my ID, my obviously under 21 but over 18 ID. She looks at it, she immediately turns away from me and turns to Zoe and goes, "Let me see your ID."
So I show her my ID, and me and Kristen are the same age. So she just looks at it and she goes, "You can't have this room." And we were like, what? This is the point in time that we found out that in Massachusetts, it's a state law that you can't room in a hotel without someone over 21.
Now, it had stated explicitly on the website that anybody 18 and over could reserve and stay in a room at that hotel. I understand state laws, and I don't want to break a state law, obviously, but they should have mentioned it on the website at least. They shouldn't say that if you're 18 years old, you can stay in the hotel room, even if you're not with an adult that's 21.
So she told us that we couldn't stay at that hotel, and at this point, I'm in full-on panic mode.
So at this point, I'm pretty upset, and I tell her that on her website it listed that you can stay in the hotel if you're above 18 and all of that, and she's still acting real sassy with us. Even their manager comes out and starts talking to us and saying, "Oh yeah, you can't stay here, sorry, there's nothing we can do." So to sum things up, my mom ended up calling the hotel, acted rude with her too, and we just couldn't stay. That was it. I asked, what other places can we stay? Do you have any suggestions? And she just looks at me and says, yeah, I don't know. So I ask, well, can we at least take your hotel shuttle back to the train station so we can figure out what to do from here? And she looks at me and she's like, yeah, I guess. Like, it was such a big deal.
This woman was fully prepared to let two 18-year-old women sleep on the streets of Boston. So we got on the shuttle and it took us to the train station, and I'm still freaking out like I do. And we're trying to figure out if we can stay in a hostel instead.
A hostel is basically someplace you can stay if you're like under 21, it's like cheaper, but the rooms aren't as nice, and it's like co-ed bathrooms, and it's kind of like a dorm, but somehow even more subpar than that.
Yeah. Well, some people end up having to room with strangers, and we were afraid that we were going to have to do that. As the clock ticks, I'm freaking out even more by the minute, because that's how I operate in my brain.
Yeah, you thought we weren't going to find somewhere to stay and we'd have to sleep on the streets.
I was literally afraid of that. I was afraid that we were going to have to sleep inside of the train station.
Well, lucky for her, she had an esteemed traveler with her, which is me. I've been traveling basically my whole life, and I knew that with a little bit of thinking we could solve this situation. Ultimately, my last plan was to sleep in either the bus station or the airport, both of which I've done in the past, but I figured Zoe wouldn't really like that a ton. So at this point, as Zoe's silently freaking out to herself in the corner of the Boston train station, I'm playing phone tag with my mom in various hostels around Boston. Now, my mom was in a work meeting at the time, and for some reason she thought it would be okay not to answer us on the phone periodically, so we had a lot of issues trying to coordinate this out. Finally, we did find one hostel in Boston, shout out to Mark, and we were all set to go there. But by the time of all this phone tag was done, it was about 3 o'clock at this moment. And we're in the train station, by the way. We're not even like in transit to the hotel. And a reminder, this show starts at 7 and you have to be there at 6 in order to like get your seats, or like if you wanted to like participate in the show, and we'll talk more about that later.
Now it's time for us to try and travel on the train. I don't know how to read train maps.
Luckily, I did. So we start making our transit all the way to where this hostel is. It's actually relatively close to where the show was, which turned out to be good because our original hotel was actually pretty far away. But, so we start getting on transit and everything was fine on the train. It was just taking a pretty long time. We arrive at the area where the hostel is at roughly
It was like
4 o'clock.
So while we were on the phone with the guy, he told us that the hostel was next to the Berklee College of Music. So we were walking down the street trying to find it, and then we realized there's about 4 different buildings for the Berklee College of Music, and we didn't know which one it was next to.
We must have crossed the same 2 at least twice because we were going down all these back roads trying to find it and things like that. But you know, apparently they can't specify which Berklee College of Music building it was.
So we were walking around for like 20 minutes, we still hadn't eaten lunch, and then we found a Wendy's, so I was like, let's go here because I'm hungry. And we got our food, and we asked the guy who was giving us our food if he knew where this place was, and he had no idea. So I just took out my phone and decided I was going to GPS it.
At this point, it's raining, so we're walking around in Boston, no idea where we're going. Zoe's lugging a huge suitcase behind her. My backpack is humongous, by the way. That was causing a little bit of a commotion on the train. But I digress. So we start walking, and finally we're about to find this hostel. And it looked a little sketchy. But we're like, whatever, so we walk in, holding our wet Wendy's bags like IV fluid, and sit down and talk to this Mark guy at the desk.
Mark told us that the room had to be cleaned before we walked in. We tried telling him, we don't care, it's fine. He was like, no, we have to clean it. I was like
Policy.
And it was like 5 o'clock at this point.
He said that the cleaning would only take about 15 minutes, so we were sitting in the couch in the lobby of this like weird hostel. The people were nice enough, but you know, with our Wendy's of course. And the cleaning ended up taking about 35 minutes. And at this point it's about 5:45. Again, you had to be there at 6. Show starts at 7.
So we were finally allowed to get into the room, and there was a sink right in the middle of it, and we were like, what the heck is this sink doing in our room? And then we started just like getting ready and putting on our makeup and stuff for the show because we wanted to look nice and fancy.
Again, at this point, it had been about 5:45 by the time we finally got in the room. We had been planning to sightsee the whole day. Yes, that was thrown out the window. But you know, we were here, we were ready to make the most of it. Like Zoe said, we were like doing our makeup and stuff like that. And I was having extreme difficulty. You know those days where your stuff just like doesn't work out? My makeup was not working out for me that day. And Zoe and I both forgot makeup remover. So I tried to go into the bathroom of this hostel to scrub this off. It didn't work. It looked like I had eaten a red popsicle. But finally, we were almost on our way.
So Krista started calling taxi, and we wanted to get there at 6:15 because we figured that would give us enough time to like be ready and be out there. So by the time we were done, we went outside into the lobby, and it was like 6:25, and the taxi still wasn't there. So we just like waited, and we figured it would be there soon. And we called the taxi place back, and they said that someone was on their way.
And it's like 6:30, still nobody's here. We're starting to get a little bit antsy because we don't actually know how far away this place is. We don't know how long it's gonna take. We don't know about traffic or anything like that.
So we went up to Mark and we were like, help us. And he was like, oh, I can get you a taxi here in like 2 minutes. Good for him, he did. Coming in with that hot save. And we got into the taxi, and I can't remember how long it took us to get there, but we got there like in exactly 7 o'clock.
There was a lot of traffic on the way, granted, because this was a massive show, but we literally got there at exactly 7 o'clock. So I pay the guy, and again, taxis in Boston are pretty expensive, but I pay the guy, and me and Zoe run up the steps into this like city wang theater, and we get ready to go, and it is so crowded in there.
So we got to our seats, and our trauma ended for that day.
The show was great, Dan and Phil were great. Again, we had experienced a lot of trauma trying to get to the show, and we didn't end up being able to participate, although we're sure Dan and Phil would have loved this story, maybe even would have featured it on their show, but you know, we couldn't because we arrived at exactly 7 o'clock. But anyway, that was the story of just getting the TATINOF, and the rest of the weekend in Boston was fine.
But wait, there's more! We were just peacefully sleeping in our beds in this strange hostel, and at 6 a.m. the next day, bright and early, the fire alarm goes off.
We're like, what is this? Is this a drill? Hotels normally don't have fire drills. This isn't a school. Turns out it was a real fire.
The rest of our day was nice and fine. Like, we went to the Quincy Market and we got lunch, and we did a little bit of shopping, and we went to the, what was it, the New England Aquarium?
Yeah.
And everything was nice and dandy.
You even got that seal there.
The seal! And, yeah, everything was great until the bus ride home.
So doing a little throwback to earlier in this video, remember when I said that I had transferred the tickets? I asked for a ticket at a specific time, a bus ticket that left at 7:35 and would get us back to our hometown at 1 a.m. And when I got the ticket said that the bus was leaving at 7:35, so I thought I had the right one. So we get on the bus, and the bus is super crowded, and we ended up having to sit directly next to each other. It was a full bus, there wasn't even one empty seat. But you know, whatever, that happens sometimes. We just dealt with it. It's like we enjoy each other's company. But it gets to be about 12 a.m. and we're in like Albany at this point. I'm like, how the heck are we gonna get back to our hometown by 1 a.m.? And that's when I look at the ticket again. The guy had given me the wrong ticket. Instead of arriving back in our hometown at 1 a.m., we were due to arrive back at 3 a.m.
I was ready for death. So we finally got back to our hometown at 3:25 in the morning. And then our trauma truly was over.
Once and for all.
So, at DanandPhil, TATINOF was great. We really appreciate that you even do that kind of stuff for us, and especially that you do it in America. But just know everything that we and the rest of your fans go through for you, because this is it. So we got into the shuttle and it took us to the fancy place. So we finally got back to our hotel. Gotta suck.